Hello everyone. As a country, we've had an eventful week and I'm happy all of you are able to join us for another Jamaica Magazine program. Information is in our name and it's our mission today. Welcome. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry and this is your JIS News for Friday, July 5, 2024. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government will act speedily to assist in the recovery process for persons who have been dislocated by the passing of Hurricane Beryl. Mr. Holness gave a rough update during a ground tour on Thursday of areas that were most affected in St. Elizabeth, one of the hardest hit parishes. He also did an aerial tour of other affected parishes.
So Kingston was largely spared. We started to see damage to residents when we started to enter areas like Old Harbour and Alligator Pond and here, where I was literally counting in Great Bay and the general Treasure Beach area, about 100 homes that suffered roof damage. And then being on the ground, you get to see another dimension of the damage, which would be the fallen poles, trees, and some roads that are blocked.
The Prime Minister says the aerial and ground tours have provided a greater perspective as to the level of response that needs to be put in place. He says the first step is to restore electricity and other utilities to communities.
The next level of service would be to help people who have been displaced. They can't live in their homes. Their circumstances are very uncomfortable. To help them to get back on their feet. And so we'll craft an emergency response in that regard. And then, as I said, to assist the economic engine of these communities to return. So it will be a multifaceted and comprehensive response.
The Prime Minister says the recovery process will move at a faster pace if affected persons also share in the responsibility to do what they can. Meanwhile, the Rural Agricultural Development Authority, RADA, has commenced preliminary assessments of the damage sustained by the agriculture sector during the passage of Hurricane Beryl. Minister Floyd Green tells JIS News that these assessments are crucial to determining the level of government assistance needed for affected farmers. He highlights significant damage in parts of Clarendon, St. Elizabeth, and Manchester.
We've seen tremendous downing of our plantain and banana trees right across this belt. Our livestock farmers, we've gotten a lot of complaints from our chicken farmers who lost chicken and lost their chicken houses, and also our small ruminant farmers. But the farmers know that we stand ready to help them. Clearly our fishermen also would have suffered damage. A number of them came in, but they would still have pots at sea. We don't expect that a lot of pots will be left based on the magnitude of the storm. So we will have to provide some support so that they can start again.
Reiterating the government's commitment, Minister Green adds that funds have been earmarked for assistance.
But the government stands ready to assist. Thankfully, we had earmarked some funds, so as soon as we get the assessment and we look at what we have, we will outline a plan of assistance.
The damage assessments will continue throughout the next week. Jamaica's tourism sector, meanwhile, has not experienced any major fallout from the weather system. Minister of Tourism Edmund Bartlett has indicated that, based on information collected by the Tourism Emergency Operations Center, TEOC, there has been no wide-scale impact to the island's general tourism infrastructure. The TEOC serves as the central hub for coordinating emergency response and recovery efforts within the tourism sector and was officially activated on July 2 ahead of the hurricane. It reports that a limited number of tourists did require relocation due to blocked roadways or as a precautionary measure. Minister Bartlett adds that the team is also aware of isolated reports of property damage. The Tourism Product Development Company, TPDCO's product quality team, is leading post-hurricane impact assessments to determine the full scope of damage. It is expected to lead to a clearer picture of the steps that will have to be taken to address any concerns in the coming days. In the meantime, Mr. Bartlett is commending representatives from his ministry and its public bodies, as well as their tourism partners, for working closely and tirelessly to mitigate the impact of Beryl, which will also facilitate a speedy recovery. The Child Protection and Family Services Agency, CPFSA, has confirmed the safety and security of all children and staff at its 50 government and private residential childcare facilities following the passage of Hurricane Beryl on Wednesday. Chief Executive Officer of the CPFSA, Lorette Adams-Thomas, reports that the management team, along with members of the Disaster Management Committee, implemented stringent measures to ensure the well-being of those in their care during the storm. She reveals that one facility in the southern region sustained damage to the roof of the kitchen, dining room, and one of the dormitories. The children were safely relocated to other dorms at the facility, and the agency is now seeking to secure mattresses to replace those that got wet in that dormitory. Mrs. Adams-Thomas says a damage assessment is currently underway at other facilities, with plans to initiate repairs if necessary. The Ministry of Health is reminding members of the public to exercise heightened vigilance to prevent foodborne illnesses and deaths from the consumption of contaminated food and drink. This is even more critical in times of disaster, and consumers are therefore asked to observe safety protocols when purchasing food and/or storing and preparing food at home. As it regards purchasing food, people are encouraged to only buy from certified and trusted outlets and be wary of purchasing food that is heavily discounted in price or prices that are too good to be true, as persons may seek to pass on damaged or spoilt goods to consumers. The ministry is also urging consumers to ensure canned food are labeled, not bloated, dented, or rusted, and to inspect items in glass bottles for any visible cracks or damage. Vegetables and ground provisions should have a fresh, firm appearance, free from odors, chemicals, discoloration, and signs of being water-soaked. Meats and seafood are to be purchased from certified outlets in a frozen state, not thawed, discolored, or with foul or unusual odors. And if foods are purchased from a restaurant or fast food outlet, it must be from vendors who are certified by the Ministry of Health or the parish health departments. Caution is also urged when storing and preparing food at home. Some tips for safety include purchasing meat, seafoods, and dairy products for daily use and not storing leftovers if power supply is down or intermittent. Frozen foods should never be thawed at room temperature and must be cooked at the correct internal temperatures. When grocery shopping, keep raw meat, poultry, seafood, and any drainage from these items away from other foods, as these can spread germs to ready-to-eat food. And finally, the Jamaica Bauxite Institute, JBI, has entered into a memorandum of understanding with Papine High School for the utilization of a greenhouse to advance the school's agriculture program. The partnership forms part of the Ministry of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining's broader initiative to promote sustainable agricultural practices through its Adopt a School Garden program. The MOU outlines a 3-year collaboration that should equip the students with greenhouse growing techniques to meet the demands of a modern agricultural sector.
We're going to provide direct support towards greenhouse, shade house production. We're going to help in relation to irrigation, so we're going to provide support in tanks, drip hoses, agricultural tools, feed, fertilizer, fencing, helping with small livestock.
The JBI's general manager has expressed enthusiasm for the initiative, which she says represents a shared vision for the future of education and agriculture in Jamaica.
Today, as we sign this memorandum of understanding, we look forward to a fruitful partnership that will not only benefit our students and institutions, but contribute to the broader agricultural landscape of Jamaica.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Storing water for consumption in the immediate days after a hurricane is important, as the heavy rains are likely to have washed silt and debris into our regular waterways. But if they are not secured properly, those storage containers can become the source of a pesky nuisance and risk to our health. The same danger lies in standing water that gathers in various containers around our yards after heavy rainfall and flooding. Our next feature will give you some guidance on how to ensure your yards are free of mosquito breeding sites.
We're looking for any container or anything which can hold water. It doesn't need a lot of water for that mosquito to deposit its eggs. Very shallow quantity of water they can deposit in it.
The rain has fallen and this has collected water. And if it is allowed to sit in the environment for a couple of days, the Aedes aegypti will breed on it. This is a plastic over a pail and the water is on the plastic. This is a beautiful breeding site for the Aedes aegypti mosquito. We have a similar one right here. There's water on the top of this container and the Aedes aegypti mosquito will breed in it. Once the water begins to evaporate and she has a space to lay her eggs, she will lay her eggs and this will then become a breeding site. Turn it over. We do appreciate that roof gutters are very necessary in some areas that do not have piped water, so it helps to collect the rainwater when it comes. However, if these roof drains become blocked by trash or other things, then it makes the water stagnant and it becomes a major breeding site for the Aedes aegypti mosquito. So it's important if you have these roof gutters that you keep them clear, that the water is able to run. Even among your plants, we have plants that are, because of how the leaves overlap each other, they are able to collect water. And Aedes aegypti loves to breed in those environments. We suggest that persons do. If you think you love these plants and you want them, put them in pots. So when they do collect water, you're able to pick up the pots, drain them out and put them down. Because as it is right now, it's very difficult for us to get rid of the water and they will just continue to be in the environment as breeding sites.
This is a tire which has been discarded, but it's just in the backyard. And what we have now is apparently rainwater has now settled inside there and we have it breeding. The Aedes are back to the breeding inside here. It can be used as an enclosure for your plants, like a potted plant situation. So what we'll show you now is how we can have it filled with dirt that will ensure that when rain does fall, mosquito will not breed in it.
There's also a method of stacking the tires so that they will not collect water. We advise the tire shop owners to, for each tire that they get, to punch a hole in each of the tires. Once that is done, they can stock them in this plaiting form. So they have one row going in a particular direction and then another set going in the opposite direction, and they will continue with this. What this does, it allows the water to be directed towards where the hole is bored. So even if the rain comes and water goes in, the water will not settle but go out. We know that most churches have what is called a baptismal pool. And we have found baptismal pools to be a major breeding site for the Aedes aegypti mosquito. So what is it that churches should do? We recommend that all baptismal pools be covered properly so that the mosquito will not have access to it for breeding. Sometimes the pools are shaped very funny, and so it's very difficult to cover. In those instances, we ask persons to empty the pool at least once per week. And after emptying the pool, we ask that you scrub the sides to ensure that you have dislodged all the eggs. So we saw many sites that were breeding the Aedes aegypti mosquito today. And we saw that these sites were found in and around our homes, business places. And if we do not deal with these breeding sites, they are going to continue to be there, posing a risk for the transmission of diseases because they are breeding the Aedes aegypti mosquito. So you must take action to rid your environment of those sites. So what is it that we're asking you to do? We want you to make this a habit. Once a week, search for and destroy the breeding sites of the Aedes aegypti mosquito.
We know you want better roads in your towns and communities. That is why through the Spark program, your government is allocating over $40 billion over 2 years to fix your community and rural roads. $20 billion will go towards fixing smaller roads in every area, with $150 million allocated per area. The remaining funds will be distributed based on road length and condition, ensuring areas with greater need receive more assistance. Your government is caring for you.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Sometimes, despite your best efforts, things go wrong. So traffic collisions can happen even if you've been a diligent driver. In that case, do you know the steps to report a motor vehicle crash? Well, as I said earlier, information is in our name. So keep watching.
You know how they say accidents do happen, unexpectedly and often unintentionally. Though road safety experts no longer define these unfortunate incidents involving motor vehicles as accidents, they're certainly never intended. Unfavorable weather conditions, objects on the road, your miscalculation while driving, or another driver can cause crashes, even for the best defensive drivers. That's exactly why it's important to know how to respond in these situations. So, what do you do at that exact moment? What should be your next steps? And when and how should you file a police report?
For the number of reports that come to this station, perhaps it's on a basis of about 10 to 15 per day. That's the number of accidents per day. So after a road traffic accident, person should first try to clear the roadway if they are obstructing the traffic for other motorists. Secondly, drivers are expected to exchange vehicle documents, and the documents should include their registration certificate, certificate of fitness, insurance certificate, and your driver's license information. Those are the essential 4 pieces of information that should be provided to both parties after an accident. Contact information is optional, but you have cases where a person tries to settle outside insurance, and that's now a civil matter. It's an agreement between both parties. So if they want to exchange contact information, that's also optional, depending on the intention that they have in terms of fixing the vehicle outside insurance or what.
Your next step? Making a police report about the collision. This is always a good idea. That way you have proof of exactly what happened and the scope of any injuries.
In terms of our approach as police officers for a motor vehicle accident, first the critical thing is to check for injuries, make sure that persons are okay. If there's a need for persons to be assisted to the hospital for any sort of treatment, we should make sure we render assistance to persons in need of that care first. Secondly, we check for the damage for the vehicles, make sure there is no obstruction along the roadway, and then we can treat with the documents or the exchange of particulars between both parties. After making a report of a motor vehicle accident, the next step that persons are advised to do is to make a report to their insurance company, and that's for another motorist. As it relates to a pedestrian or persons who are injured, they are also advised to get the assistance of an attorney to file a personal injury claim against the party that is liable in the accident. For follow-up visits, what we do, we have cases where persons are seriously injured, some of which are not able to make it to the station to give a report in the first instance. So what we try to do, whether the persons are hospitalized, we ensure that visits are made and that the person's conditions are updated as we go along. As we through the investigation, we ensure that the person's conditions are updated along the procedure.
But are you always required to report traffic collisions?
Not in all cases a report must be filed for accidents. We have situations where it could be a very minor mishap. For example, someone could be reversing from their garage, they could bump their gate. So in those cases, it's not necessary for them to make a report. But for other situations involving another motorist, or a case where a pedestrian or a property is damaged, a report is expected to be made, because persons at times are expected to make claims, whether from their insurance company or their attorneys. based on the damage received or the injuries they've sustained.
Reports from the Road Safety Unit shows that up to April 26, 139 lives have been cut short because of road crashes this year, with over 100 of those being males. And for the corresponding period last year, 136 lives were lost in road crashes. On a more global level, studies from the World Health Organization (WHO) show that approximately 1.35 million people die each year as a result of road traffic crashes, and 3% of most countries' gross domestic product is spent on road traffic crashes.
The most common cause of motor vehicle accidents, from my understanding, it's mostly impatience on the part of some of the drivers and lack of knowledge as to how the roadways should be used. And I also believe the implementation of traffic signs at various areas would also aid the process, because most drivers are not aware of what to do at various parts of the roadway.
In the face of such figures, even the most careful driver can suddenly encounter a bit of bad fortune on the road. You know that saying, decisions can be like car accidents, sudden and full of consequences. So how about making the right decision to be responsible road users today?
Children are the future, and ensuring our future is healthy requires that children are always provided with nutritious foods to grow well and live long. Unhealthy diets high in sugar, salt, and fat consumed by children may make them obese and prone to non-communicable diseases later in life. Healthy foods and beverages not only help them learn better, but also protects them from non-communicable diseases such as some cancers, diabetes, hypertension, and cardiovascular diseases in their childhood and adult life. So, whether it's at home, in the lunch bag, or at school, let's make healthy foods and beverages for our children the only rule.
At this point in the show, food is on my mind. I can't be alone, right? We have to eat, no matter what else is going on. What's also certain is that what we eat has a big impact on our health, energy, and general well-being. So, next, we're giving information on the nutrients your body needs for good health to help you decide what to consume.
Eating healthy by having a balanced diet consisting of items from all the food groups and consuming the right portions is important to get the nutrients vital for disease prevention, growth, and good health. Essential nutrients are building blocks for the cells that make up the body, from bone to muscle, skin, and hair. One of the most critical ones is protein, which is made up of different amino acids, some of which the body can make on its own. We need a variety of proteins to function properly, many of which can only come from the foods we eat. Meats, fish, and eggs are essential sources from animals, while plant sources include beans, nuts, and some grains. How much protein you need daily depends on a variety of factors, including how active you are and your age. Carbohydrates are the main nutrients for fueling the body's energy needs, especially our central nervous system and brain. They help protect against diseases, but some carbohydrates are healthier than others. Some healthy sources include your fresh produce, such as yam, banana, breadfruit, and tubers, as well as whole grains, fiber-rich vegetables, and fruits. Less healthy sources include refined grains and products with added sugar. Fats often get a bad rap, but it's important to know that healthy fats are essential to our body's function. Fats aid in vitamin and mineral absorption, blood clotting, building cells, and muscle movement. Fats are high in calories, which is a measure of energy from foods, but the World Health Organization recommends keeping daily calorie intake from fat at under 30%. Including healthy fats, which are the unsaturated fats in your diet, can help balance blood sugar, decrease the risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes, and improve brain function. Healthy fats are also powerful anti-inflammatories and can lower the risk for arthritis, cancer, and Alzheimer's disease. Some of the well-known unsaturated fats are the omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. Sources of these healthy fats include fish, seeds, nuts, and vegetable oils, olive, avocado, and flax seeds. Trans fats are to be avoided, and we should also limit our intake of saturated fats, of which the main sources are animal-based and include butter, cheese, red meat, and ice cream. Vitamins are organic compounds essential for normal growth and are required in small quantities. There are 13 essential vitamins that the body needs, and these help lower the risk of diseases such as lung and prostate cancer. Vitamin A supports healthy vision, skin, and bones. Powerful antioxidants like vitamin C boost the immune system and helps the body heal. Eating a varied and well-balanced diet of fruits and vegetables should supply the body with the required vitamins. Minerals are also important nutrients needed for building strong bones and teeth. They help with regulating our body's metabolism and keeping us properly hydrated. The mineral calcium strengthens bones and teeth and helps with nerve signal transmission. It also helps to maintain healthy blood pressure and with muscle contraction and relaxation. Iron supports red blood cells and hormone creation, while the mineral zinc boosts the immune system and wound healing. Start treating your body right. As you grab your next meal, make sure you're getting all the nutrients needed in their right proportion.
There are critical steps to prioritize for your safety in the aftermath of a hurricane. First, contact family and friends. Use text messages or social media to reassure loved ones of your safety, as phone lines may be overwhelmed. Second, avoid hazards. Stay clear of downed power lines and report them to the utility company promptly. Refrain from walking or driving through floodwaters which may be contaminated or hide dangerous debris. Third, ensure water safety. Boil water before drinking it or rely on bottled water until you confirm it's safe. Refrain from using utilities until they have been inspected by a professional. And lastly, care for your mental health. Recognize that recovery takes time and it's normal to feel stressed. Seek support from family, friends, or professionals to navigate through this period effectively. We've come to the end of our program. Get a recap of everything you saw here and more on our website, gis.gov.jm. Until then, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.